Okay, well, good to be back with y'all. I started a discussion with a friend and thought I would carry it over into the cyber world as well. So, excuse me, I asked my friend if there was one thing, would you want me to know about Christianity? Now, he's off to a conference or something like that, so hasn't answered me yet. But I went ahead and answered him back with the one thing that I wish Christians knew about Judaism. And, of course, mine was actually two things that were kind of important. And so I thought we might discuss that today. And if there's some more things later, we might even put up some more podcasts in the future on the subject. So what is number one that you would want Christians to know about Judaism? One is, I don't think that we are as far apart in justification and sanctification as the average Christian might think. In other words, we're not that far apart in our idea of being saved. Now, of course, we don't use that terminology, and so it makes it a little difficult to compare apples with apples, but we do have the two terms, or at least the ideas in our spiritual vocabulary, so to speak. And so let's go over those real quickly. Just in case you're not up to date on all of your terminology, justification is the act or the moment, perhaps better said, that one becomes right before God. I would say that for Christianity, that also equals being saved, and that also equals going to heaven. So all three of those are kind of wrapped up in that same thing. So how is one justified before God? The second term is sanctification. Now, sanctification is, I would say, how that salvation or how that relationship, if we're going to look at it from the Jewish perspective, is played out. What is it that God expects of us? What is it that we are supposed to do for God, or because God told us to do it? How are our lives to be better once we become sanctified, either in Judaism or in Christianity? So that's the terminology. I would say that if I went up to my rabbi and said, "Rabbi, how are we justified?" more than likely he would have no idea what I'm talking about, because that's a Christian concept, I believe. Same way with sanctification, but as I said, the idea is there in our vocabulary. So how is a Jew justified? I would say the same way that a Christian is justified, except by a slightly different set of details. So in Christianity, one is saved when they believe in Jesus, his life, death, and resurrection, and that they believe he, through his blood, forgave God through his blood forgave all of our sins. So that is basically justification in Christianity. In Judaism, I would say it's very similar. Once we accept the yoke of the covenant, the yoke of the Torah, on our lives, so in other words, once we accept the responsibility of Torah, just like in Christianity accepting Jesus, we become justified. So when a bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah child, a young person, and remember, even though we use those terms for the party and the process, they're actually terminologies for the actual individuals. In other words, I am a bar mitzvah, once bar bat mitzvah takes place, generally I believe that's 13 with girls and 14 with boys, or maybe 12 and 13. But that's the age at which we believe you become accountable for your sins. So at that moment in time, when you accept the yoke of the Torah upon yourself, you become justified. Same way, if you convert, I converted, and so the moment I came out of the mikveh, the baptismal, so to speak, I became justified. Well, I had another thought and it's already left me. Oh well. As you can see, I'm driving. I apologize for the dirt on the windshields and on the side window. I live down a clay road, and I often get stoned without smoking or taking anything, as the clay first and then the rock flies up into the air. So, yeah. So anyway, it's been a while since this truck has been cleaned, and as soon as I clean it, it will get dirty again, because it will rain again, and then I'll be right back where we started. So, all right, so sorry, I digress. The justification for I'm trying to think of the word, the person who returns to the Torah. Let's say you're 50 and you've not been observant. Maybe you had a bar mitzvah and then fell away. Now I would say that once you had your bar mitzvah, once you made that commitment, even though you failed to make the commitment, you're still Jewish and you're still justified. But you have certainly not lived out your sanctification very well. But let's say you never had a bar mitzvah. Let's not cloudy up the waters. You never had a bar mitzvah, never had a bat mitzvah, and about age 35, 37, you decide, hey, I'm going to become observant. And you trudge into Torah Judaism, and at that point in time, the same thing. So, are we born justified? I would say no. I don't think that everybody that's Jewish is going to heaven. I don't think everybody that's Christian is going to heaven. I don't think everybody that is Muslim or Buddhist, etc. I think it takes a personal decision on all of our parts. And speaking of that, I do question, although I love my friend dearly, I do question his statement that there is no action, because he's a faith alone believer, that there's no action required to become saved in Christianity. I think you have to accept, you have to pray, you have to say the sinner's prayer, you have to do something. You don't just wake up one morning and all of a sudden you're a Christian. So I think there is action to the faith, and that brings us nice and squarely into the next subject, and that is sanctification. So once again, sanctification is how that salvation, that justification, our relationship with the Almighty plays out. Once again, I don't think we're too far from what Christianity believes. Christianity believes that basically the Spirit transforms you, it makes you into a better person, and I'm assuming that you can tell that you're a better person by, kind of how you act and that type of thing. I think that Christians believe that they have to keep the Torah, or at least keep the commandments, I should say, because otherwise, and I know Paul is very confusing in different places. James, of course, says that without action, faith is of no avail. I really don't have time to get into all of that, but suffice it to say that I'm off on a tangent, then I forget where I was at. Suffice it to say that there is some action required in order to make or enter that covenant. I guess that's easy to say. Okay, so we believe that by it was about the commandments. That's where I was. Sorry about that. Paul says that the cross is a stumbling block to the Jew, and I would say that the law is a stumbling block to Christians, because y'all really don't know what to do with it. It's nailed to the cross. You're not responsible for it, but then again, you don't believe that you can go down the street and kill your neighbor, or steal your neighbor's wife, go down and steal, etc., and still be in good stead with the Almighty. At least I don't believe most Christians think that. Just as I don't think most Jews believe that you can act however you want to, and just because you're Jewish, you're going to heaven. I think our actions play a role in all of that. For Jews, it is the keeping of the Torah. For Christians, as I said, I think it's that making you a better person and transforming you from the inside out. And I would say that Judaism believes the same thing, except we're transferred. I've lost my word. We are changed from the outside in. In other words, doing creates change. And I believe that in Christianity, change creates doing. So, anyway, that's my number one. I don't think we are at opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to justification and sanctification. I think we all believe that in order to be saved, which once again, Jews do not use that terminology. I would say more of to become in what's the word I'm looking for? To become not one with God, but involved with God, and so forth. That requires action. It requires us on both sides making a commitment to something greater than ourselves, and then playing out that commitment in our daily lives as sanctification. I hope that helps. I know I rambled just a little bit. I'm sorry, I'm driving, and unfortunately things come up when you're driving, and you have to pay attention to the road. So I may have, in my mind, veered off, so in the truck I didn't veer off. So yeah, that's it. Now the second one is a lot quicker and a lot simpler. I would say that my second pet peeve is the disdain for the rabbis and the Pharisees. It is unfortunate that is the case. Jesus argued with the Pharisees, with the scribes, with the Sadducees throughout his life, and that is a very normal Jewish thing to do. We contend with God and we contend with our fellow man. Having an argument with a Pharisee and Jesus really doesn't indicate hatred, etc. And in fact, you generally wouldn't probably interact with people that you didn't feel like had any value in what they were saying or doing. So, unfortunately, Pharisee is listed in the dictionary as hypocrite, and I think that is very unfortunate. If you ever deal with a Jew, please do not mention these things, even if you believe them, because they are our forebears. They are the ones that came before us and that led to the Judaism that we have today. Judaism could have easily died off, just as Christianity could have easily died off when the temple was destroyed. Of course, true Christianity wasn't around yet, but there were people that, of course, believed in Jesus as the Messiah. I don't think as God yet, but as Messiah. And And also, there's nothing wrong with that either. There are people that believe that the last Rebbe was the Messiah, and all I can say is that once a person dies and they have not completed the tasks, most Jews believe that they are not the Messiah. So if somebody comes back, either direction, either person, and proves us wrong, then by all means, that's the minute we will jump on board and believe. So don't call us Pharisees as far as a pejorative. Don't hypocrite, etc. Jesus argued, as I said, with every manner of Jew. And with the Pharisees, there were two schools of thought at the time. There was the school of Shammai and the school of Hillel. Hillel was much more lenient in his rulings, and in fact, Jesus is pretty lenient in his rulings as well. And Shammai was more strict. In fact, there's a story about a man coming to the different rabbis, and he came to Shammai first, and he said, "Teach me everything there is to know about Judaism while I stand on one foot, and I will convert." And Shammai hits him with a stick and sends him on his way. Then he goes to Hillel, and same thing, "Teach me everything there is to know about Judaism while I stand on one foot, and I will convert." And Hillel says, "What is repulsive to your neighbor, what is repulsive to you, do not do to your neighbor. The rest is commentary. Now go and learn." And the man was converted. So anyway, you can see the difference there. There's one time, most of the time Jesus sided with Hillel. There's one time that he sided with Shammai. I'm not going to tell you which one. I hope that somebody will put it in the comments. And if you don't, then perhaps I'll clue you in next time. So anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Hope everybody has a wonderful day. Thank you for listening. And pardon the dirty car and a little bit of rambling here and there, but I enjoyed being with you, and I wish you a shuv u'tov.